Hey everybody, what's up? This is G here with Solo the Fighter, and yet again we are here with Cyrus, and today we're going to be talking to you about some exciting MMA stuff as usual. You know, that's what we do on this vlog. So, let me go ahead and introduce you. Hey, I'm G. You all know me. I do this, and yet again I'm here with Cyrus. Cyrus, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hola, Roberto. How about you say what's up?
What's going on, guys?
Hey Roberto, thanks for joining us, man. And guess what, guys? We have Roberto here as well.
How's it going, guys?
The Three Kings are back. Hey, everybody, this is Cyrus Stark. We've got a great show prepared for you. We got a lot to say, lots to review, lots to catch up on. So, hope you guys enjoy it as much as we're going to.
All right, Roberto, you have anything to say before we get started?
No, just welcoming everybody to the show.
All right, well then let's get into this. Today we're going to be talking about Colby Chaos Covington and his pretty decent performance at, UFC in Sao Paulo, and just kind of the ramifications of everything that he did and how things worked out with the UFC with him. Colby Covington, I mean, he did pretty good, but I think that his trash talk has probably overshot his potential and possibly his career more than his skill has in this whole entire thing. And I mean, I just think this is starting to blow up into something more of a talk your way into a fight than fight your way into an earned position. What do you guys think about that?
Well, basically, yeah, well, you know what? All of the above, but I've been on to Colby Covington for a while now because he's a grinder, he's a stud wrestler, and he's this guy's full of piss and vinegar, and his persona. I mean, I honestly believe the guy's a prick, but he's my kind of prick in the sense that he says what he thinks. He's real for whatever stuff he says. Whenever you interview him, he's real. But one thing I've noticed about him lately is that he's changed in the sense that a little bit like Kevin Lee, he's been trying a lot harder than before. Before he was just like the way he was. He was a prick to everybody. He used to be roommates with John Jones, for Christ's sakes. They were on the same wrestling team, the same school, and he didn't have a lot of good things to say. Like, he's the kind of guy he just he calls it as he sees it. I appreciate that. But lately he's been on that whole Kevin Lee kind of path where he's just like really trying, and sometimes when people really try, it's not as fun. But okay, like whether you agree with what he said the other night, what he's been saying for the past week or so, that's up to you. Like I personally disagree with the whole Brazil filthy animals thing. I mean, he didn't say anything to me that crossed the line. It was disrespectful, it was insulting, but it wasn't even close to what Chael used to say. And it wasn't anywhere near as insulting and disgusting as what Mick Leprechaun used to say. And I mean, Mick Leprechaun used to say some of the nastiest, most disgusting things. And you had his basically he's his manager, Dana White, just laughing along and enjoying it. But now all of a sudden, because of what he said, because Colby Covington said like a couple of things, now like the UFC are having their toadies, their men in suits show up and saying we're really unhappy with what he said. Like, the guy's a grinder, so his fight style is not to everybody's taste. It's actually not. Like, for most people, especially the casuals, they probably hate his style. I happen to love it because this guy is he makes the most of his talents, and I don't care what people say, whether it was a boring fight or not. What he did the other night is immense. He took on one of the greatest grapplers, one of the greatest submission specialists ever, and he shut him down. So he deserves all credit. And it was a lot more impressive than what Tyron Woodley did. Because Tyron Woodley avoided him. Colby Covington was in his face. He got pieced up for quite a bit of the fight, but he out-wrestled him. He out-grappled him, and that is huge. I'm not defending what he said. I'm defending his right to say it. And I'm also asking, like, what kind of hypocrisy, what kind of nonsense are the UFC on? Like, What are you trying to tell people? Like, do you have to sell like up to 500? I mean, what's the minimum pay-per-view mark before you can actually have the right to be a prick? Because I thought like everybody had the right to be a prick. So yeah, that's my takeaway. I think there's a lot of hypocrisy as far as Colby Covington and a lot of other people are concerned.
Okay, Roberto, what do you think about this whole Colby Covington type issue going on right now?
Well, I mean, first, I mean, the fight was awesome. I mean, I had my to win this fight just because I really don't know much about Colby. But just watching the way he manhandled him and outstriked him, and he just overpowered Damian. So the fight was good. Now, what he said afterwards, I mean, if he's trying to go on the persona of being the bad boy, he did an excellent job doing that. But also him saying what he said, I mean, that was just a big, huge slap and disrespect to, the people of Brazil.
Okay.
To me, he shouldn't have said what he said. But I mean, like I said, if he wants to go the route of being the bad boy of the promotion, I mean, he accomplished what he did.
Yeah,
All right.
beautiful.
And I mean, so the route of being this heel, a la Chael Sonnen, in the modern day era, do you guys think that normally this is going to create a type of competitive, type of heated rivalry between Colby Covington and any Brazilian fighter, where every Brazilian is going to go see him fight just to see him get smashed? Or do you really think that they really want to like possibly lynch Colby Covington in the streets?
Oh, definitely. They definitely wanted to. I mean, look at Matt Brown. Remember what happened to Matt Brown? And I mean, he didn't even really go in. He gave him the finger, and this guy couldn't even walk to the cage without getting smacked in the back of the head. I mean, it wasn't smacked, it was punched. And then the very next day, he got attacked too. So that was out of line as well. So no, Brazil are known for that. I have nothing against Brazil. I love that country. But there's one thing known about Brazil is they're extremely nationalistic. There's nothing wrong with that, but they do, they'll fight. They'll try to fight their guys fight too. They'll get involved, and sometimes they go overboard. So, like, even like I don't have a problem with what he said. I don't agree with it. But I don't have a problem with the fact that he said it. Like, if he wants to say that, fine. I've heard much worse things said about Brazilians than what he said. It was almost generic. I mean, the filthy animals part. I mean, freaking, what's his name? One of the greatest comedians ever. That's how he used to start his bit in America. I can't remember his name right now. And he played in a lot of Kevin Smith films. He's one of the greatest stand-up comedians ever. And one of his most famous shows was called You Filthy Animals. And he used to end every show practically with like, "Good night, you filthy animals," to get lost. So, I mean, it wasn't that bad. It was tasteless. It was rude. It was insulting. But, really, if you think about it, Chael Sonnen, when he fought for that title against Anderson Silva, he went way worse. He went way deeper and way more insulting. It's just Chael had a way with words, and Chael's really good at that.
Oh, gee, that's so nice.
Getting some noise in here.
Yeah, she said you can sit in the chair. Let me make sure your
Some
iPad
background
is off.
noise. Can we do something about it?
Did you try to take my light?
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I tried.
Yep, we can hear you,
I can hear you.
Okay. How does
Yep,
the background?
go ahead.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I'm not saying people should should agree with it. They have a right to be upset about it. But there's a huge level of hypocrisy here. A huge level.
All right. So,
like,
I'm going to go ahead and ask this really quick question. Do you think that Colby Covington has just possibly talked his way into a possible title fight after the winner of, the next title fight shot? Like, do you think he talked his way into a fight, or do you think he earned it? Quick question.
I think he's. he's definitely okay. I'll put it this way: I think he's earned the right to be part of the title talk. Like he definitely should be considered for a title. Like maybe one more fight, but he's definitely in the conversation, and he earned it really well. I'm afraid that he might have actually earned his title shot with his mouth. Like he'll probably. I have a feeling that he's gonna get that title shot.
Okay,
And it's
Roberto, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think he got the title shot because of his mouth, and you know, and his performance. I mean, look who he fought and beat. You know, Maya was coming in, with what 2 wins or 3 wins, 3 straight wins.
Yeah.
And
well, before the fight.
yeah, so he defeated Maya, and then he did what he did. So I'm sure he's gonna get a title fight, but I think he should fight one more fight before he gets that fight.
Yeah,
So
I don't
one
have a
more
problem with that.
fight, then he gets the title shot.
Okay.
And just remember, he out-grappled Maya. He didn't just beat Maya. He out-grappled. Like, actually, Maya, I think, actually outstruck him for most of the fight. I mean, what gave him the win in Brazil with Brazilian judges was the fact that he out-grappled him. He out-wrestled him, and he out-grappled him, which is something I don't think that's ever happened before. I think the last time that happened, Maya getting out-grappled was Roy McDonald. Roy McDonald and pulled out Jake Shields, and those are two of the greatest grapplers.
All right.
Sorry, is it just me? Or can you guys hear this?
No, I can hear you.
So I mean, like, then Colby Covington still going to have to wait until the winner of RDA versus Robbie Lawler, because Dana White did say that the winner of RDA versus Robbie Lawler was going to get the next title shot. So Colby Covington might just have to take another fight anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with Robbie getting the next title shot. I do have a problem with RDA getting the next title shot. That's a weird one to me, and I have nothing against RDA, but RDA, okay, he's won his last two in at welterweight. He beat the Belgian kickboxing champ. I always forget his name. You know, the Belgian guy who's a Strikeforce welterweight champion. He's a good fighter, but he hasn't really been ranked in a while. And then he beat Neil Magny, who's no joke, but like, I don't think he's earned a shot at welterweight, and he was on a 2-fight losing streak as a lightweight, so that's a weird one. But Robbie Lawler, honestly, he's earned everything. He's more than earned it. Like there's things, I mean, the welterweight is really weird for all the talent and everything they've got. They've got so much talent in there, but it's really weird because the guy who's holding the belt, it's just it's dour, man. It's really dour, and honestly, I still say that Maya should have won that fight. He should have gotten the decision because Woodley should have had like 1 or 2 points taken away, and that's enough for Maya to win that fight, because like they kept on saying Maya didn't particularly do well. Like he fucked up in the sense that he kept on insisting on a double leg when he has so many different ways to take other people down. A little bit with what he did with Covington.
Okay.
Like, so yeah, he didn't have the greatest performance. He probably had his worst performance in years, but he did get to Woodley 3 times, and all 3 times Woodley grabbed the cage egregiously. So if it's that kind of fight, because Woodley wasn't throwing anything either. Woodley was constantly backing up, just like he did in that second fight with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. So, like, when it's that fight with no output, with barely any strikes thrown, if somebody gets a hold of someone's hips and is about to make him go for a ride, if you grab the cage, that should be an immediate point taken away, especially after 1 warning or 2 warnings. And he did it 3 times. Mm-hmm. And 3 times, all 3 times, especially the last 2 times, Maya had him. He was going to take him down. I'll say he was going to body slam him. So, it's a mess. It's a real mess because like, Wonder Boy fought him twice. drew once, lost once. So it's going to take him a couple fights to get back. That's why that fight with Wonder Boy and the Masvidal this weekend is going to be huge, because that could be a next title challenger as well. So,
well, I mean, there's a lot of title challengers going around, and I mean, we're just gonna have to see if Dana White keeps his word or he allows this, this spectacle or
I can almost
this
guarantee he won't.
balance of Colby Covington overshadow RDA versus Robbie Lawler. Like, we're just gonna have to see, because all of it's really up in the air right now. So
there's a chance it does, and it's not because of his performance, which I thought was good. It wasn't the most spectacular, but it's very hard to be spectacular against Maia. The reason I believe he might is because, just like you guys were saying, he got people talking. He got people to hate him, and his mouth and his nonsense might actually get him. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. He's earned exactly where he is. He's earned really good. And he was one of the ones that the UFC treated like a dog for years, just like Kamaru Usman. Whether you like him or not, that guy's amazing, and he's not far off either. It's just, it all depends on how the UFC decides to see it. Kamaru Usman is one. He's really close, and he's a stud. You've got Mike Perry. Mike Perry is close for both reasons, just like Colby Covington. Like, he deserves to be where he is. He's knocking guys out like left, right, and center. He's getting better and better every time.
all right.
But because he's outspoken and he's real, like he's himself. He's not trying anything. But I'm getting the feeling that he'll probably get to that title shot really soon, but because of his persona, because people hate on him, because people write about him, because people get on social media and complain about him using, like dropping N-bombs and F-bombs and stuff. And Colby is in the same spot. There's a couple others that are really close, like some really good welterweights. There's Masvidal, who's not too far. I hope Wonder Boy is not too far, but there's a lot of talent in that welterweight division.
All right. Well, talking about people in the welterweight division, let's talk about Robbie Lawler yet again. But the accusations lobbed against him by Rory McDonald that, like, what do you like, Roberto? What do you feel is going on? Have you heard about the accusations between Rory McDonald and Robbie Lawler in their last fight?
No, not really. Is it something about steroids?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, well, there you go then. I guess I've heard everything.
I know. It's just so crazy. I'm like, why? Here. Tell us, Cyrus. Tell us what happened.
Well, basically, it started in 2015, July 2015 fight week. There was something that came up on Robbie's test. It was the first, if you guys remember, it was the first
or something
event where USADA and Reebok came into effect. That was the first ever event where both with these wonderful, these wonderful things that did so much good for all fighters came into effect. So that was the first event where fighters had to wear Reebok gear. And it was the first event where USADA was testing people. So basically, something came up on Robbie's test that was like an irregularity. And then they retested him. Everything was fine. So basically, Rory heard about it and said that something came up. A couple of journalists, like most MMA journalists nowadays, don't really do their jobs. They don't ask the hard questions. A couple inquired, Luke Thomas inquired, asked the doctor and said, "Oh, that can happen because when you cut weight, when you're constantly training, your body's levels of testosterone and other things like that will yo-yo." So I don't know. It was something that tested I think it was this testosterone that they tested high, and then the very next day it went low. So there was nothing illegal found. It was just his levels were abnormal. They were very high and then very low. So they thought something was up. They retested him. Everything was level. It was fine. Rory, ever since that day, he said that was weird. It was really weird that happened and that they didn't tell me, which he's absolutely right to say because the UFC is supposed to be transparent. They didn't tell him. and they have, they have previous. So I would have been paranoid and suspecting some foul play too. The thing I find really weird is, like, 2 weeks ago, he was doing a Reddit AMA or whatever, some live chat thing where fans can like get online and ask him questions directly. And somebody asked him about that. So do you think something, like they asked him about, oh yeah, his levels were high. Do you think there's a chance? And Rory, and Rory's that way. He just blatantly, he just says things as he sees them. He said, yeah, in my mind, I have no doubt that he was on something. He was on steroids. Which, okay, I love Rory. I actually picked him to win, and he's like, if I'd back him to win against anyone except for like the Diaz brothers, George St. Pierre, but I wouldn't root against him either. He's just like one of my all-time favorite fighters. I love the dude, but I thought that accusation sucked. You can't just throw out an accusation on somebody and not have proof to back it up. That's all he said. He said, in my mind, there is no doubt he was on steroids, and then not explain why or give any proof. To me, that's the kind of accusations that suck. It's not fair. And it's, like, I love Robbie's answer. Robbie's answer was very classy, very calm. He just said, look, I don't know where he's getting that from. I don't understand what he means. I guess maybe he's just looking for, like sometimes when people lose, some people are bad losers, and there's nothing wrong with that. But he's saying, like, maybe he's just looking for an excuse or a reason to, like a motivation. That's all he said. I really admired and respected his response. But, however, Rory, that accusation sucked, because you can't do that. You can't accuse somebody and then not give any proof or any, like, backup to it or any reasoning. He just said that and left it hanging. So it's unfair to Robbie, but it's unfair to him because, it doesn't make any sense, and it makes it look almost like Rory's bitter.
Yeah, and possibly that he's looking for an excuse or something. Which
yeah, exactly.
Rory McDonald doesn't need.
No, he doesn't. And I mean, it was one of the greatest fights ever, and it's a bit of a bummer. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Rogero. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just saying. So I was just saying that I just found that weird as well. Just have to touch on that real quick. That it's just one of those weird things that just pops up that you just had to touch on real quick. I mean, the one thing that we should actually talk about here, just kind of talk about a little bit in terms of, trash talk and, the UFC saying that they're angry with Colby Covington for his stuff that he's saying and stuff. Let's take that to the side real quick. There is an issue where recently we've had a problem with Conor McGregor.
Yep.
Yes, Conor McGregor having problems, go figure, right? Calling Andre Philly a homophobic word. Have you heard about this?
I have, but man, anything that has to do with with McGregor and his mouth, I really, now it's more like he's just putting on a show. And for him to say what he said, though, yeah, he crossed the line. I mean, come on. It's if you're gay, cool.
Right.
If you're not, okay. It's whatever. I mean, we're in 2017. That should be something that's like, that shouldn't even be an issue anymore. There's exactly. other things that this fool should be worrying about, and for him to be saying homophobic slurs or whatever, it's just, to me, he's just being an idiot.
That sounds.
What was weird about that one?
Oh, go ahead, Cyrus.
No, what was really fucked up about that one was, like, the guy's not stupid. Like, he's not very bright. I don't believe he's very bright because he's delusional. So, when you're delusional and drinking your own Kool-Aid, you will turn into an idiot. But what I'm saying is, he's not dumb. And he knew very well when he was walking in the back, towards his fellow fighters' dressing room, that were cameras everywhere following him because, he's Conor McGregor from McLeod. Mm-hmm. But that he said it not real loud. so everybody could hear. But also the way he said it, it wasn't like when Nate Diaz said it. It wasn't like when Cowboy said it, and it wasn't even like when Verdum said it. Verdum said it. He called him maricon, but it obviously wasn't referring to his sexual preferences. It was just insulting the guy. He was insulting El Kukui or Tony Ferguson. When Nate Diaz did it, he was insulting Misha Tate's boyfriend, whatever the fuck his name is, but because the guy was a weasel. Yeah, Brian Caraway. Thank you. When Donald
Brian Cryaway.
yeah, cry away, man. What a fucking weasel. And Donald Cerrone says it, and he says it quite a bit. It's obviously has nothing to do with people. It's not. But the way McLeprechaun said, or Conor McGregor, if you prefer, he was actually suggesting the guy was effeminate and that he was a homosexual, which makes that is like that's a problem. That's really nasty. So, but anyways, like my biggest problem is the hypocrisy, because when Nate Diaz called Brian Caraway a faggot, he was suspended for 3 months, fined something close to $50,000. When what's his name? Matt Mitrione called Fallon Fox a freak and a lying it. Like I'm not defending what he said because it was out of line and it was over the top, but he was angry about the fact that Fallon Fox used to be a man, had a man's strength, and lied about previously being a man to fight women and had an unfair advantage. Okay, the way he went out about it, the way he went out, but he got severely punished for that too. It cost him like nearly $30,000. But then, like, people like McGregor can say it. He's been saying it for a while. Nothing. They didn't even comment on it. When Michael Bisping called Luke Rockhold a faggot after winning a belt that he doesn't deserve, that he's still besmirching, nothing happened. Not once. And oh yeah, by the way, you're the president or McLeprechaun's manager-in-chief, Dana White. He's called people faggots plenty of time in public. And I'm not talking about in public like on his own. I'm talking in public as in his duties as UFC president. He called like a few, he's done it quite a few times. And, like how can you say that you're unhappy with Colby Covington or Nate Diaz or whoever, and then let guys like Bisping and McLeprechaun say whatever they want? There's a problem. Like even Verdum, who I do not like.
It's favoritism. It's favoritism.
It's hypocrisy.
McGregor was saying it during the whole Mayweather press.
Yeah, exactly. He sure was.
Yeah, and even then, like,
and nobody batted an eye because it's McGregor.
Yeah, but he wasn't talking about exactly. But like, yeah. They both did it. You're absolutely right. Mayweather did it repeatedly, especially in London. However, it's just like, and oh, by the way, if you want to talk, let's just get back, because it's all kind of part of the same parlance. The fact that Matt Mitrione got suspended I think it was 4 or 5 months and got fined $30,000, $30K. Dana White himself referred to Cyborg as a Vanderlei in a dress, and he actually like got up and like like it was a mummer's farce. Like he acted like he was Cyborg and walked like all fucked up, which is 10 times worse. It's really gross, and he's the president. He's supposed to be unbiased, and so there's a lot of hypocrisy, and it's like, man, like it's lucky I'm, whatever, man. It's lucky I'm not there, because I'd be bringing it up if I was a reporter or I was a fighter. It's like, how are you gonna punish Colby or anybody else when, like, just last week, your boy, your red boy, did what he did, and you yourself have been known to do it in much worse ways than fighters. So it's a mess, man. It's right. Maybe really angry when that executive, whoever he is from WME, guy introduced it. Oh yeah, we're looking into his comments, and we're very unhappy. It's like, since when do you all of a sudden respect Brazil? Like you didn't mind letting McGregor, trample the Brazilian flag when he was hyping up UFC 189 versus Jose Aldo. You didn't mind him ripping uh, effigies of, like pictures of the Brazilian flag, spitting on it. I think he even like urinated on one once. So it's like, Jesus Christ, like, like it's either the same for everybody, like everybody can say whatever they want, which was always the UFC's kind of like motto, or no, everybody has to toe the line and you don't get to insult other people's countries. Either or, but the same for everybody.
Right. But I don't think that's going to happen considering, favoritism, as we've all been saying, as Roberto just said just not too long ago, in between, you make us enough money, we'll let you do what you want to do, or if we're promoting you, we'll let you do what you want to do. I just don't believe that's going to change, like, anytime soon. And yes, we're gonna say that, it's up to the fighters to make it change, but it just doesn't seem like they're going to make it change anytime soon as well. So I think this is going to be like the typical type of behavior, especially from the UFC. Consider how much money and how many eyes a fighter will bring to them, and then issue them a punishment based on, that risk to reward.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. However, like the last thing I want is for MMA to end up like the NBA. But if there's one thing that's kind of halfway decent about the NBA, it's like they really suck with their political correctness and all that nonsense. But it doesn't matter how big a star you are. If you say something out of line, like things you're not allowed to say, it doesn't matter how big a star you are, you're going to get it. You can be the worst player in the league, a bench player, or a star. Actually, it's actually worse if you're a star because you get more listeners. So I think, like it shouldn't work that way. And if that's the road they're trying to go down, they're already on a slippery slope the way they've been behaving this year. Like ever since the WMEING bought it, they've made a lot of mistakes. But if they're going to go down that road, it's going to go even worse because, like, fighters are people who say what they think. They're wild. That's why they fight. A lot of them fight as well because they don't want to, they're misfits. Like a lot of us are. They don't do political correctness. So now what? You're going to start imposing political correctness on those who don't sell pay-per-views? Is that the way it works? That sucks, man. It's not going to go well for the UFC. Like they've already lost a lot of talent. They're about to lose a whole lot more if that's the road they want to walk down. So yeah.
It just seems that's the way that they're trying to go right now, and hopefully they learn from this get-go, considering that they really do not want to lose any more high-quality, high-spotlight fighters.
Mm-hmm. If the UFC is trying to turn this sport around, to make it clean, to make it look professional, quote unquote, with Reebok. But yet they're still letting these fighters say what they want to say and not get reprimanded. I don't think that right there. That right there, they're contradicting themselves, because if they want to become this pro league or whatever, if you want to call it that way, because of the whole, with the Reebok. No sponsors, no banners, or all of that. But yet you got these fighters that are saying all this stuff. Then, yeah, like Sarah said, they should get reprimanded, but they won't, because they're the ones that are selling the fights.
Yeah.
Like Dana White has a mouth. He don't give a shit. He talks however he wants to say, and he's the one putting that example on all these fighters.
Exactly.
They're like, well, if the president of the UFC can say it, then why can't I?
Right.
Exactly. And remember that Budweiser idiot actually said it, be Conor McGregor. So it's like Colby and I'm not saying Colby isn't, like copying McGregor, but there is an element of like they did say like your mouth is going to get you somewhere. So he's obviously trying that out. So what, you're going to punish him for for actually like just doing that. Like, oh yeah, you need to be a personality. You need to get people to react to you. You need to whether it's good or bad, you need to get people to feel something. Well, mission accomplished. He did. Whether you enjoyed the way he did it or not, that has nothing to do with that. Like I said, I didn't.
I mean, there's a way to promote yourself if you want to be using your mouth.
Exactly.
But don't cross the line.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
Cross the line. I mean, look at Chael. To me, he was the only fighter I ever saw that, started talking, trash talking, just like how the WWE guys did it.
Yeah, he did. That's what he did.
But he never, as far as I know, I don't think he's ever crossed that line.
Oh my God, he crossed it way more than Colby ever did.
I'm just messy.
I swear. The thing is that Chael is charming. Chael is brilliant with words.
Exactly. It's the way Chael said it. It was the way he said it. It's the way he, what's the word? What's that word I want to say?
It was smooth.
I can't remember, but yeah, it was smooth. It was the way he said it. Yeah. It was just, it wasn't. It
was tongue in cheek, but
it wasn't like how Colby. It wasn't like how Colby said it. He said it angry.
Yeah. He said it with anger and venom. I love this call out of Tyron Woodley, by the way. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The whole this is a stupid country. It's a dirty country. You guys are filthy.
Yeah, filthy animals. Yeah.
If anything, the most offensive part about it, I mean, it's not nice to hear that about anybody's country. However, the most offensive thing about it was it's not even original because so many people have said it. Don Fry said it. Don Fry said the only good thing about Brazil is that the Brazilian women are notorious whores. Don Fry is the greatest troll ever, so people just it's amazing. People just shrug it off as that's freaking Don Fry. Tank Cabot's the same. The people like Tank Cabot's just these guys are whatever. I love them both, but they used to say. Remember what Don Fry said about John Jones's kids?
No, I didn't hear that.
All the nappy-headed bastards.
Sorry.
Oh, that sucked.
Yeah, he's like John Jones and his naughty, nappy-headed little bastards. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, oh, shit. All right, who am I kidding? It's Don Fry. But it was like, but Don Fry did shock factor like nobody else did until Chael Sonnen. It's amazing. Chael Sonnen could say worse shit than that. But it's just the way he delivered it, and he always kind of.
That's the word. It's deliver. It's the way he delivers it. Yes.
Because it was self-deprecating, and as he'd say it, he'd make himself look like a buffoon. Like that time he went and bought like a plastic UFC belt and just walked around with it for a week. And he'd say all these ridiculous, disgusting things, but you couldn't. It's like he looked like a buffoon. So he was like, oh yeah, it's just it's Chael. He's got problems, But it's amazing. But yeah, Chael's good, man. Chael, like honestly, like this guy, you could hire him to go from gym to gym and educate fighters on how to talk, how to deliver stuff, how to seize opportunities, and how to market yourself. The guy's a genius. To this day, his podcast is amazing. I listen to it as often as I can because he will break down a situation for you in a way that like very few people can. And he has insight because, he's been less than honest in his life. He's been known to, dabble in the Mexican supplements or, whatever you want to call it. He's been known to even dabble in like criminal activity. Like he was, he used to sell
something to do with real estate or something.
Yeah, he even got involved in politics for Christ's sakes. He quickly got out because, it wasn't good. But,
like be disgraced all over the public.
Exactly. This guy is awesome. He's highly intelligent, and the way he views things, like now that he's no longer fighting, he can view things like he can see the forest through the trees. He'll view it in a non-emotional, but yet not completely cynical way. But he'll explain to you, like, this is how it works. This is how business and the sports business works. And if more fighters listen to it, they'd be better off. Like, basically, he's like, when you're dealing with the business side of sports, there's no morality. There's no right or wrong. It's what you can get. Because if you think right and wrong, you're going to get screwed over real quick. Because people who are on the other side of the table aren't thinking right or wrong. They're thinking, I want to win. So they'll do anything. So you have to be ready. You don't have to disgrace yourself. You don't have to be, like break the law, but you have to be ready for anything that comes your way. And then he said, like, the best way to be ready for whatever comes your way is to know your place. Know your place in the company. Know your worth. And then if you know your worth, you can become worth more. Not as the person, but as a commodity. Because remember, Dana White, all these guys don't give a shit about you as a person, whether you're a good person, whether you're a bad person. They care about what you can bring to them, like how many tickets. That's what's going to get you paid. And that's really good advice. But anyways, like to get back, I'm going off topic here, but you're absolutely right. Like it's a mess because, like, I mean, I'll go as far as like the USADA ban. USADA bans IVs, which was one of the worst things they could do. Right? So fighters are suffering. Fighters are missing weight, are getting into trouble, or getting sick because of weight cuts, and they can't even replenish with IVs. So it's obviously affecting some fighters' performances because they can't rehydrate properly. So, but then you hear about some fighters getting IVs before they fight. Like the most blatant example is Overeem. I think it was UFC 209, if I'm not mistaken, when he fought Mark Hunt and knocked him out. Like we found out the very next day that he had an IV because he was supposedly sick. But that's not right. That's not good, especially when USADA banned IVs because they said, oh, it's a good way to mask steroids, which is full. Some people have been known to do that, but then, like, why is Overeem all of a sudden getting a secret therapeutic usage exemption for the IV without telling Mark Hunt, of course, without telling any other fighter, and any other fighter who uses an IV, even outside of fight camp, gets banned. Like they banned BJ Penn 3 months for using an IV, and the guy was sick. He was in a hospital. And his doctor gave him the IV, but because he didn't check with USADA's doctors first,
they suspended him.
They banned him. So now there's a lot of really fishy, iffy stuff. And even if, like, it's a very bad look. Like one guy can have IV whatever he wants just because he's sick, and the other guy, no matter how sick he is, he's in hospital because he's been throwing up all day and he can't have an IV. Like that's the least thing that's the very least. You go into the hospital, one of the first things they hook you up to is an IV machine, especially when you're dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that just sounds like another portion of something that the UFC and the USADA actually need to just come together and actually fix. How long has it been now? And they're still kind of making things up as they go.
2 years. July 2015, man. That's when they started. USADA and Reebok. Two of the worst things to ever happen to the sport. And I'm all for a clean sport. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like saying like, oh, everybody should take steroids. But you know what? I'd rather everybody take steroids than status quo. The people that be, the powers that be, decide who gets to or who gets to get away with it, and then the other guys have to toe the line because that's bullshit. That's even more unfair than it was before. So it's like either you legalize everything, you allow people to take everything, and you just impose like basically they have to tell you exactly what they're taking, or you treat everybody the same, which they haven't been doing. Like there's been some guys, they've been let off the hook. And then you got the guys like John Jones, you got the guys like Yoel Romero, who have to go and prove their innocence. And sometimes it won't even work out. So yeah, it stinks. It's not good. It's not a good look. And it's just gonna cost them more fighters, and eventually it's going to cost them fans because they're going to lose any and all good standing they had with the fans because they did some great things, but now lately they've been
now they're on the downtrend, considering
they definitely
all the stuff that they've been doing.
Yeah, it's not good. It's getting worse and worse, and they're getting more and more arrogant and more biased. So it's hard to see it getting better. Like I don't know.
I don't believe it'll get better. I mean, no, I don't think so. I think it's going to continue on the downtrend, but I'm going to have to say that downtrend is probably going to have to wait, considering the amount of fights that they have stacked so far until next year.
There's going to be some great ones.
So, I mean, yeah, let's actually talk about one of the great ones coming up this Saturday. UFC 217, Michael Bisping versus George St. Pierre, and the co-main event. Come on, let's talk about it. Roberto, do you have anything? Like, what do you think is going on? What do you think is going to happen between the main event and the co-main event? Which one are you actually excited for? You think should be the main event?
I'm excited about both.
I'm really excited for the co-main, and Joanna's fight. I mean, it's those two right there for me. Is Joanna's the co-main and Garbrandt is the main event.
Okay.
Bisping and Pierre. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a good. Well, I don't know if it's going to be a good fight or not. Just because we all know how Pierre fights. Yep. We all know he comes in, he's going to throw those jabs, he's going to throw a weak kick, and he's going to try to take him down. He's going to lay on him. He's going to try to, ground and pound until Bisping taps, or he's going to try to submit him. Other than that, I mean, Bisping, he'll be lucky to land a couple shots just because of the way Pierre moves. But it's just another Pierre fight for me. It's okay. Yeah. I don't see anything. I don't know what more he can bring as far as what new. Yeah, what new? What is he going to show us that he hasn't already shown the world? Of all his fights. So to me, it's just whatever. But with Garbrandt, and TJ, that's the fight I want to see because they got some bad blood. I know on the press conference that they had recently, they were kind of civil with each other. But as we all saw on Tough, they really don't like each other. So that's another fight right there. Then with Namajunas and Jurjacek, during that same press conference, they were going at it, man. And Joanna got pissed. Oh, yeah, they did not like it. She got pissed with one of the reporters trying to compare her with her last opponent. So he was comparing Joanna to Kokovic.
Okay.
As he was talking to Namajunas, and Joanna was like, no. You don't compare me to nobody. You don't compare me to no one. Why don't you just stick to what you're good at and just ask the questions? I was like, oh shit. Wow. Yeah, dude. Yeah. She got pissed.
She gets snarky, man. Like, especially the closer the fights come, she gets real. And whenever she gets snarky, you just know it's going to be a good fight. And they've disliked each other for a while now. Namajunas and. And like they really don't like each other, so it's going to be a great fight. Yeah. I love both of these women. They're such warriors. It's going to be special. Like as far as title fights, to me, as far as I'm concerned, it's just like Gerald said. It's Joanna co-main event, Joanna versus Rose, and then you've got TJ versus Cody. And that's the main event. The other fight is just a super fight or an exhibition fight because you can't call that a title fight. No disrespect to George St. Pierre, but it's not a title fight because, this bitch shouldn't have been holding the belt anyways. And even though he held it, he should have been stripped a long time ago because it's just been embarrassing. It really has been. He should have been fighting. He should have fought Yoel Romero a long time ago. And then even though they screwed Yoel with that interim title fight, and he should be fighting Robert Whittaker at the very least. Robert Whittaker actually holds the middleweight interim belt, so that should be his first title defense, but he's fighting George St. Pierre. And I mean,
Yeah, but I think because Whitaker, he's out because of injury, right?
Yeah, he's out because of injury, so he's actually fine with Michael Bisping fighting.
What about Chris Weidman? What about, I mean, what about frickin' Luke Rockhold?
Well, they all should have gotten the first spot and not GSP.
How about Gegard? I mean, that's why Gegard left in the end. It wasn't even, I mean, the money was a big deal, but like he said, what made him decide to leave ultimately was that he knew they were never going to let him fight for the title, even though he'd earned it. And that guy has earned it. He's on a fight, well, now 6 with Bellator, but he was on a 5-fight winning streak in the UFC, and he's beaten like a who's who. He's got an amazing career. Like if anybody deserved the title shot, it was him. And he just like they made him understand that they were never going to let him fight for the title. They were going to keep him away from benching because they knew he could beat him. So that's ridiculous. That's that makes your whole company, the whole promotion of that. So yeah.
But you know what, man? If GSP wins and gets that interim belt, and Whitaker comes back,
gets the belt.
Whitaker's gonna in my opinion, Whitaker's gonna destroy GSP.
Whoa, now that's some crazy talk right there.
I'm telling you right now, that is my bold statement. Whitaker is going to defeat GSP if GSP gets that belt. Whitaker is he's one of my favorite fighters, man, and he is a nasty ass dude.
Oh, me too.
I love he's dude. Just, as nice dude, as he is outside. Bro, that guy just doesn't. He just gives no fucks when he's fighting.
What's that Hawaiian cat's name? He just fought, and he had one of the best performances of his career. Big dude. Big middleweight from Hawaii. Awesome guy. He just fought, like, I think last week or the week before. And he's great. He's been like a top talent in the middleweight division for a long time. When he fought, and this guy is not easy to get knocked out. Like he's lost. He fought the guy I'm talking about fought Yoel Romero. Like Yoel won unanimously, but he didn't get knocked out. But then when Robert fought him, Robert Whitaker. I mean, Whitaker knocked him out cold. Like dropped him, and it just blasted him with some ground and pound. He was out cold. So like, yeah, no. Robert can knock anybody out. I've got no doubt. The only question I have is, he did lose to Wonderboy at welterweight. Okay, pardon me, I'm yawning. He should have obviously never fought at welterweight to begin with because he was way too dehydrated. The weight cut was too much for him. But, however, like GSP has the great equalizer. He's got the best wrestling in the game. So, like, if standing
he's phenomenal as a wrestler. I'm not going to say no. I mean, GSP is just the best.
Yeah, he's a third-degree black belt as well.
Whoa. Mm-hmm. Is he still the best after being gone for so long? That sounds like a factor that we might have to toss in here.
Yeah, he's
Were you talking about? Were you talking about? No, not Jacare.
No,
I'm looking here at the stats for Whitaker.
Yeah, it's like
so he won against Yoel Romero, then he won against Derek Brunson, then he won. Yeah, those were the only 2 fights in 17 with Sosa and Romero.
No, it wasn't this year. It was before. Before.
Not for.
No. Like if you go down, like what you're on Sherdog or Wikipedia. If you look down his I didn't say it was this year. It was like earlier. But I remember that fight because it was in Australia. It was the same card. Stipe put a beating on Mark Hunt. It was the fight that
Brad Tavares.
Brad Tavares, thank you. I love that dude. That guy is tough as nails. There's only 2 people I've seen knock him out. was Tim Boetsch, and Tim Boetsch can literally knock out anybody. He's got that power. And Robert Whittaker, but Robert Whittaker's knockout of Brad Tavares was particularly violent. Like I think he caught him with a left uppercut, stunned him, knocked him to the ground, and then just finished him off with like 2 or 3 strikes. Like on the ground, like ground and pounding him. But it's just like that's just how hard he hits and how venomous he is. I freaking love Robert Whittaker. Don't get me wrong, man. Like,
I do too, man. He's one of my favorite fighters. But yeah, man, it's gonna be good no matter what.
I love those kind of fights.
Yeah, this fight, this coming card, it's a pretty good card. Like I said, I'm just more wanting to see Joanna and Garbrandt's fight.
I also want to see
this being in St. Pierre. That's my wife right there. She's all in love with St. Pierre, so
Yeah, it's like the cherry on the top of the cake. But I mean, like the cake also's got a freaking Masvidal versus Wonder Boy. Like, who wouldn't want to see that?
Oh, that's another fight too, man.
The card's just stacked. The card's just stacked. I mean, it's just amazing that they stacked and they put all of those fights in just this one card. So it's going to be amazing as it is.
I don't know what's going to be better, that one or 214. 214 was by far the best card of the year. 216 was a surprise card of the year because it was really good and stuff. It was a weird card to put together because it was headlined by an interim title bout, just like 213 was. And I mean, 213 was fun too. But honestly, 214 was the best to me. Like, in my opinion, it was the best card of the year so far. And 217 might be even bigger. I don't know if it's better. We'll see. But, it's huge. It's the card of the year. So, like, as far as, like, the end of the year, there's going to be some great. I mean, and I ain't even talking just the UFC. There's LFA that's got some big events. There's what's it called? Bellator have got some huge events. Like,
yeah. I mean, as a matter of fact,
for
our last topic, we discussed, a lot of MMA events coming up during like the closeout of this year. Roberto, like, about a lot of MMA events coming up before the closeout of this year. Can you tell us some? And then Cyrus, you could let us know your MMA events that you're looking forward to the end of the year.
Well, I mean, you have, let's see, the fights that are coming up. You have LFA, then you have Bellator. We have the UFC, ONE FC.
ONE FC, Immortal Pursuit.
They have an event. They have an event.
This coming month. They've got freaking Angela Lee versus Mei Yamaguchi 2. And on the same card, you've got Ben Askren's retirement fight versus another legend. Who would want to see that? Like that's 2 legends duking it out. One lightweight legend and one welterweight legend. I honestly don't believe, and I really hope he doesn't retire after that. Like, I really hope that Ben Askren keeps fighting because I want to see him take on because I'm convinced he could do work. I'm not, he's just that good. He really is. He's just like Damian Maia in the sense that he's got problems that nobody's figured out a way to solve. I mean, the guy's the perfect 17-0. And he fought some world-class fighters. He never fought in the UFC. That doesn't mean he didn't fight. Like, Douglas Lima could do work on pretty much anyone in the UFC. He's the size of a welterweight striker. He's not perfect, but I mean, he could do work against 80 to 85%, no doubt. And I'm not saying, and that's not ruling out surprise results just because you don't know. Like, he could easily. I'm not saying he would beat Robbie Lawler if they fought today, but I could see a way that he could beat Robbie Lawler because he hit so hard, Douglas Lima. He's so big. He's got excellent takedown defense. He's got one-punch knockout power, and he's an excellent fighter. He's legit black belt on the ground, if I'm not mistaken. UFC 189. I believe there's going to be Rory versus Lima for the title. There's another title fight being prepared on there. There's ONE FC Moral Pursuit. The last KSW card is going to be fun. I mean, they're always fun, but this time it's going to have like 2 title fights as well. There's a lot of good MMA to watch. And then, like, don't even get me started on the boxing, man. We're going to get to see Lomachenko versus what's his name? The other great lightweight in boxing. I can't remember his name right now, but he's an amazing fighter, and they're both at the top of their sports. That's something to look forward to. But there's so many good events coming up. There's Bellator 189. There's ONE FC Immortal Pursuit, as I called it. There's LFA, and I believe that Roberto's promotion.
Lomachenko's gonna fight Guillermo
Rigandao. That's
Rigandao. Dude, Lomachenko is a beast, man.
Right. He really is. He's
a freaking. He's just like the Matrix in there, man. He's. Whew.
Yeah, but so is Guillermo. Guillermo is nasty. He's an amazing fighter, and he's never lost either, has he?
No, it's going to be a good fight, man. Unless they cancel each other out, but you know what? It's still going to be a good fight either way.
I mean, look at what we've had this year as far as like boxing, and we've had some great events in MMA as well. Like Bellator had some of the greatest events they've ever had this year. But then in boxing, look at all the stuff we had. We had the classic between Joshua and Klitschko. We had we just recently had Canelo versus Triple G for the first time. Like, people didn't like the result, but it was a great fight.
Dude, and then the best one of all, McGregor and Mayweather. Just kidding.
Yeah, that was special. Probably had the show on Earth. The greatest circus.
Oh, you know what, guys? Speaking of year-end events, I'm doing my Fight Book MMA Awards this year again. This will be the third year. So I'm going to need you guys to help me out as far as the top 5 of the things that I have on my list. So I have to tell you guys before I forget, because I will forget. My memory sucks ass. But
same here.
As soon as I get my list done, I'll send it out to you guys, and then that way y'all can email it back to me.
Hey,
and
sweet.
then
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, because I know Cyrus, you're pretty good at remembering a lot of the fights that happened this year, especially with the overseas and regional fights.
Yeah, I love it.
So and then
I'm glad to help, man.
Yeah, and then Gerald, I know you're pretty good about remembering, highlight fights. So that'd be cool if you guys can help me out. But yeah, it's going to be a huge one, because Brave Combat, I mean, they're just, man, they've exploded so much on the MMA scene, and just their first year. This will be their actual first year being an MMA promotion. Because last year they had like 2 events, and that was like their first 2 that they ever started. But this year, like I said, it's going to be their very first year that they become a well-known overseas promotion.
Right.
And speaking of Brave, guess who's going to interview Wanderlei Silva?
Who's that?
Someone called Roberto?
Well, I was going to do it, but I figured I'd give it to one of my writers that's pretty good about doing interviews. So yeah, he's going to be an ambassador to the next Brave 9 event. So yeah, and they reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, do you want to interview Wanderlei?" I was like, "Hell yeah!"
Right.
I'm not gonna, say no to that. If I can't find anybody, I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Walking legend.
Yeah. So they said, all right, that's cool. You know, I'm glad that you accepted. So we'll just make it exclusive just to you guys. And I was like,
That's
hell
awesome, man.
yeah.
Damn, that's nice.
So
Congratulations.
So where can we find that? That's going to be on your site.
yeah, it's gonna be on fightbookmma.com. Once I get it published, I'll post it on our Google Plus page, and then
Nice.
yeah. So can't wait for that, man. I already sent out the questions today, so I'm just gonna be waiting patiently for Vandalay to answer our questions.
All right.
As
So
will I, man. That's awesome. Yeah, man. And let's get let's get some interviews going on over here. Do special interview.
You know,
episodes.
CES MMA, man, they've been putting on some good events too.
Yeah, John Doomsday Howard, man, had a big win this past week.
Dude,
It's nice to see him.
Yeah, we were there actually. Well, I wasn't, but my team out there in Rhode Island, they were covering the event, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And man,
they've always been good, man, and it's nice to see Doomsday back. He was always one of their stars, so it's cool, you know. They're good, you know. Regional MMA rules, you know, they're not always good as each other, but you know, CS has always been one of the better ones. But like speaking of which,
oh yeah,
what about your own Roberto, King of the Cage? Anything exciting? Any big news for like the end of the year? Do they have anything special?
oh yeah, they're gonna be putting on a live event on MAV TV. It's the 2017 World Amateur Championship.
Nice.
So that's gonna be shown live, which I'm hoping to be there. I'm not too sure yet because it's gonna be in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So
Everybody's bringing.
Let's see if I can.
I mean, Ryzen.
Yeah, man, because it's a huge contract.
Yeah,
It's a huge contract with these amateurs. They get a pro contract if they win of $250,000.
yeah. I mean, like you look at all the biggest, like the big mainstream promotions, whether it's KSW, and KSW are huge in Poland and in large parts of East Europe. Like the UFC are a distant second to KSW in Poland and Ukraine and you know places like that. ACB are putting some huge events on for the end of the year for the Christmas period. Store One FC, like we just discussed, Ryzen, like their biggest cards of the year are always on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got some huge things in store like that. They've already got some big matchups. Like you're gonna get to see Uncle Creepy.
So
and he's going to be fighting on New Year's Day, if I'm not mistaken. LFA are preparing some big things too. Ryzen, that card. I mean, Chrome Gracie's coming back. Kyoji Horiguchi is going to be fighting for the first bantamweight title in Ryzen history. They've been signing some big fighters, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Ryzen, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
So
a lot to watch.
Take a step in here real quick. And I'm going to have to ask a question about something that Roberto just said. He said that the amateur fighting, the championships, offer how much?
So if the winner of the World Amateur Champion, that winner is going to get a pro card up. They're going to become pro for King of the Cage. And they're gonna get paid $250,000,
which is more than what the UFC offers for the Ultimate Fighter show.
Exactly.
Is that correct?
No,
yes,
by double.
Until I believe
and double.
Earned close to $200,000, but that was exceptional. That was the first time in UFC history. I mean, $250,000, like especially like those are for amateurs. So those are kids, you know, like very young kids, and that could make a difference. And that, you know, I applaud them for doing that, for coming up with that. So the UFC, just like Gerald said.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I
There's like
don't
100 now.
remember. Yeah, I don't remember what the if the guy that loses, if he's going to get any money as well. I mean, they're all going to get paid, but I don't know if
Right.
he's also going to get a card because he made it into the finals. But I know for sure
Right.
the winner's going to get 250K.
That's excellent.
Yeah. So that means that I should possibly get training right now. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to start, want to try to get that contract next year.
All right, that's
Yeah, well done.
pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
it's
That just blew
what
my
though
mind.
because you know why they can afford it, because is co-owners of King of the Cage
Who is?
and Lucas Oil.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course. You see it on the posters every time.
Yeah, they're co-owners now. MAVTV, they are exclusive to King of the Cage in showing their events. So King of the Cage gets money off of MAVTV and Lucas Oil. They sponsor King of the Cage. When they make these contracts with these casinos and hotels, to put on events, especially with the casino, even if they don't sell out, they're still making money because they got that contract
That's true.
for the casinos. They're paying King of the Cage to put events in their casinos because they want to bring that. Because the casinos, they're putting their name out there on the banners, promos, and then they're having the fans come out, and then plus they're getting their shout out when they show it on TV, on MAV TV live.
Right,
Well, it's
that's
not
smart.
live, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
So no matter what, even if
I'm
they
glad
don't
they are.
sell and sell out, they're still making money, and they're still paying their fighters.
Yeah, well, good. And I mean, MMA in your casino is a huge attraction. So these
Hmm.
guys should be getting paid.
Hmm.
So good. I'm happy. And it's very savvy moves KOTC are making. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
and
glad.
that's and not a lot of people know about what about what King of the Cage is about. Me being able to be there, slowly climbing that ladder with them, just learning the what they are all about. Man, they do take care of their fighters. They might not pay them, hundreds and thousands of dollars or so much money, but um, one of my friends that live here that fights for them, she is going to go and fight for the title here pretty soon. And one of the guys interviewed her and said, if she's planning on going to another promotion, she's like, no, she's all, I'm staying with King of the Cage. They're paying me well, and I'm doing the, I'm able to fight for them full time and be able to. So what does that tell you?
Absolutely.
Right.
So it's cool, man. King of the Cage, they take care of their fighters, man, and they're one of the pioneers of the sport.
They definitely are. That's amazing all by itself.
Yeah, because you never heard of Diego Sanchez, you never heard of Tim Means, you never heard of T.J. Dillashaw, Ronda Rousey. They all fought for King of the Cage.
Yep, they sure did.
So what does that tell you? The UFC wasn't even around when the King of the Cage was out.
Rousey
You
fought
know,
the King of the Cage.
Yes, she did.
she sure did. She sure did.
Shit.
Actually, I think
I
she
remember
even won the
Tough and
belt.
I didn't remember King of the Cage, man. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's
Oh yeah, yeah. That's where Rousey. That's where she. I believe that's her first.
Her first
Uh,
pro fight.
her first pro events that she's ever fought for a pro promotion was for King of the Cage.
it's
Mm-hmm.
nuts, man. That takes you way
Yep.
back. I remember Strike
yeah.
Force. I remember Strike Force Challengers. I need to brush up, man, because I'm usually pretty good at that. I didn't realize there's a lot of good fighters that came through King of the Cage. That I know for a fact.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, anything from New York, from the East Coast, rings. Ring of Combat was huge for you know, the East Coast MMA. Like there wasn't anything bigger as far as the region. Like Weidman came out of it. Iaquinta came out of it. What's his name? Uriah Hall came out of there. So what's his name? Big Greek fighter, Greek American fighter who retired a couple of years ago. Guy who fought Luke Rockhold. Looks like a bull. Yeah, I mean, it's like tons. I mean, what's his name? Aljamain Sterling was bantamweight champion for Ring of Combat. Gian Vellante fought there, didn't he? I'm pretty sure he did too.
I think he did. He did.
So yeah, you know, regional is huge. I mean, that's where the stars of tomorrow are. It's amazing, man. Completely, either I didn't remember or I completely forgot that she even fought for King of the Cage. That's
yeah, man. A lot of these. I remember when Diego, when he graduated from high school, he was always telling everybody, "I'm going to be fighting for the UFC. I'm going to be fighting for the UFC." But first, he fought for King of the Cage, and won his belt. He won the belt, and was the champ. Then that's when they were like, "Oh shit, this guy's yeah." And that's when he went to Tough.
Right. The first one.
So for the first one, yeah. And since then, dude, that's why Diego's always at the fights here for King of the Cage. When they're here, he's always there. And Tim Means also, he's always there too.
He used to fight for
Yep. And to go creep on their favorite fighters.
Yeah.
That what?
As I think you just told Diego Sanchez and Tim Mean fans where to go creep on their favorite fighters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I have to be Elvis and I have to run. Escape all the fans, man. No, but it's a special promotion. It's run well, and you can always tell when a promotion is run well by people who just love the sport, or whether it's run by people who just want to make money off the sport. You see it really fast. There's no lying about that. Like, so yeah, man, I'm really excited about the end of the year, both mainstream and regional. There's a lot of good shit coming out. So,
a lot of local events, man. Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm kind of looking forward to a lot of them and everything, and you know, people definitely need to go ahead and check out the, you know, amateur championship and see what's going on there, because as you said, you know, there's a lot of talent coming out in regional, especially King of the Cage. This is probably where you're going to see the next big thing, especially with such a, you know, a championship award like that. Like, it's going to happen. So people need to check that out. That's a definite.
Well, check this out. So, Juan Archuleta, I'm not sure if you all know who he is.
Give us a quick summary.
That's the name.
So he is now the only fighter in a pro promotion to hold 5 different belts in 5 different weight classes.
Wow.
And that's in King of the Cage.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah. He made history again 2 months ago, I believe, in California, to fight for the belt, and now he holds 5 titles, and he's the only one right now that can say that he's pound for pound fighter. And when you see him fight, holy shit!
Please give us.
I'm surprised that Juan the Spaniard Archuleta.
Okay.
Just Google him and you'll find videos, and it's just awesome, man. To see.
Didn't he fight
for who?
Combate? You know the new promotion.
No, he didn't. He didn't fight for Combate.
Okay.
That's another promotion that's making a name for themselves too.
Right. are growing every day, and they've got the what's his name from the original UFC founder, one of the first people to
Yep,
start
they sure do. He is
UFC.
now.
Yeah,
He is the he's
I love that dude.
co-owner or something like that.
Yeah, co-owner, co-promoter, and he's running it, and he's doing
Some,
it.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fighters love fighting. I mean, they don't have the most money, but they treat their fighters right. And
Mm-hmm.
when Combate say that they're paying 70% of revenue to the fighters, you can believe them because they do, and their books are open. I commend them. And they're putting on some quality title fights too. They're not, they're nothing to be sniffed at. So.
Mm-mm. Yeah. So yeah, man, it's who fought recently with the Combate was Froggy. I can't remember his full name, but he put on an awesome show. Um, but yeah, y'all, everybody needs to Google Juan Archuleta. Just phenomenal dude. I'm surprised he's not in the UFC, but I mean, holding 5 belts, getting paid what he's getting paid, I wouldn't leave either. He trains his coach is Joe Daddy Stevenson.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he trains out at Cobra Kai.
Sounds like fun. Sounds
Yeah.
like a lot of fun. Man, that's awesome.
Definitely going on the Google list for tonight.
Yeah, same here.
Seriously,
Blew our mind, man.
that's unheard of. That's just unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
That makes no sense that something like that flies underneath the radar.
So what is it like?
Nobody cares. Nobody.
Upwards?
Yeah,
Huh?
lightweight and upwards. Not the heavyweight. He's not heavyweight or light heavyweight.
He fights all the way up to middleweight, right?
I believe so. Yes, middleweight is his top because he's not a big dude.
Yeah. Well, if you can make lightweight, he obviously isn't.
Yeah, he's
Remember,
dope,
Diego Sanchez
man.
he fought all the way down to featherweight and fought at light heavyweight once. So it's insane. Like some of these guys, man, God bless them, they are some of the toughest dudes and women out there, and I commend them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, thank you, because like I said, now I have something to do tonight. Also, fans out there, you have something to do tonight. You need to go ahead and get in the Google search and check that out. So, I mean, I guess that just brings us to the end of our topics tonight for this episode. And yet again, fans out there, thank you so much for joining us. And we are going to be coming out with another episode soon. And don't forget to join us for that. But this is G, and I'm going to be signing out. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Leave us a comment on what you think. Roberto, you have any parting remarks?
Just thank you for tuning in. Even if you don't hear it live, it'll be up on the archives and on YouTube. So, just really thank you for the support, and you can find me at Fightbook MMA or on my website. Check it out, fightbookmma.com. And just thanks for the support.
Yeah, same here, man. Like, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to check out MMA Hype Watch on Google Plus or on the blog. And please do subscribe and like. And don't forget to check out my good friend, Captain Israel. Captain's Corner on YouTube. She's by the same name on Tumblr and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And like and subscribe at your leisure. You guys have a good night.
All right, fans. That's Soul of a Fighter. That's our episode for tonight. Yet again, don't forget to join us next time. All right, we're out.
Cyrus out.